Tyrone Jones Show. Today we're going to be talking about end user support. I have a special guest here that's going to join me so we can talk about end user support and the things that they do. Welcome to my show, Doris Seabrook. Yay! How you doing?
How you doing, Tyrone?
All right. Well, what's your name, first of all?
My name is Dari Seabrook.
Okay, all right. What company you work for?
I work with Verizon Wireless.
All right. How long have you been doing user support with them?
I've been doing user support with Verizon Wireless for 6 years.
All right. Could you explain some of the things that you do for user support?
Yeah, I do end user support for cell phone troubleshooting and computer networking troubleshooting.
All right. Basically, do you have? I know customers will call and be very angry, agitated. How do you handle angry customers?
The release button, Tyrone.
Ha
No, seriously. Yeah, customers do call in angry. You wouldn't necessarily say they're angry, but more so frustrated.
All right.
You know, as you can imagine, with the direction that cell phones have been going in, the advancements of computers, working with this type of stuff for people who maybe are not used to it, or people who maybe do not have that experience, can be very frustrating.
Right.
So I think that's the first thing that we have to remember, is that, you know, they're not necessarily angry. They're just frustrated. They just need somebody that want to listen, somebody that wants to let them know that they understand where they're coming from, and someone that can educate them.
Right.
So that they can use these tools, you know, more efficiently in their life and make things easier the way things are supposed to be. So, you know, first and foremost, we let them know that we understand, you know, where they're coming from, and we reassure them. We make sure we reassure them that we're here to support them. We're here to make this easier and this whole process go a little more smoothly. Okay. So I think that's the best way that you should handle something like that.
All right. That'll be good, because they don't have the understanding of it, so they get kind of confused. Yeah. What about the customers that think they know what they're doing?
Oh, that's a whole other ballgame.
Then they give you a call in and try to tell you what they know, but they really don't know. I mean, how do you lead your way to finding out what really is their problem if they're saying this is the problem?
I mean, that can go you know, one or two ways. You know, when in user support, you don't want to assume a customer's knowledge about a certain thing, whether they have the lack of or too much experience. You kind of want to, you know, ask questions to kind of get a feel of what their knowledge level is.
Right.
And that'll kind of give you an idea how to proceed or deal with that person or interact with that person on that call.
Okay.
So, you know, you can get you know, a novice user who knows nothing about it, or a lot of times we get that IT technician from another company who does, you know, phone support for their company.
Right.
But, you know, and they call us and they have a great deal of knowledge. You want to respect that fact as well.
Okay.
But at the same time, like I said, by not assuming a person's knowledge level and just asking the appropriate questions and working with that person, you know, you can find what level of you know, speed you can move at.
Right.
And you're troubleshooting the process and get to a resolution quicker. So, you know, not assuming someone's knowledge level is probably really important.
Okay. All right. What challenging problems have you encountered by end user support, taking in calls?
I mean, there's a lot of different challenges. Probably the biggest one is, you know, like I said, interacting with that customer who's never used smartphones before, or interacting with that customer who's, you know, 80 years old and for the first time decided that they wanted to get on the internet.
Right.
Yeah, they bought their first laptop at 80 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, at that point you understand it's going to be difficult, but, you know, like I said, if you sit back and you think about how exciting that person is after all this time to maybe be jumping into that world. Okay. And thinking about the fact that, you know, this person's on your other line, you have a chance to assist them with their first experience on, you know, with a computer or an internet connection or anything like that, or Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Imagine our grandparents trying to use Wi-Fi. Okay, so, you know, I mean, it's gratifying to a certain degree, because you open up a whole other world for these people.
Right. All right. What are all the most common problems though with the smartphones or the internet or anything like that you have that people call in with?
I tell people nowadays that smartphones have gotten to the point where they're basically handheld computers, and I say that just to put everything into perspective for them, because just like computers, you know, lock up, freeze up, and all the headaches that you have with your computer, you essentially see the same thing on smartphones. So, you know, in troubleshooting the computers and smartphone world, That's probably the biggest thing that we see is you know what's running on these things, what's running on your home computer that's preventing your computer to have a successful internet connection or transmit data.
Right.
Or the same thing on your smartphone. What's running on it, what's causing it to crash, what's causing it to freeze. So just looking at the programs and the processes that are running on each of them, making sure the network connections are set up correctly on each particular device, whether it's computer or smartphone. Those are probably the biggest things that we troubleshoot.
Okay. All right. What gender? What gender normally calls in the most? Who has the more problems, male or female?
I think, to be honest with you, I think males do. Surprisingly, females know how to use their cell phone. they tackled it from when it was just text messaging. They tackled it with the thumb actions and stuff like that. So the transition to going into something that allows them to do more communicating, females got that. Anything that allowed them to do more communicating, they made it a lot easier. So ironically, males, we like to think we know a lot about a lot, so we jump into things and we'll tear something up in a minute.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Just toss it. Get out of here.
And then call someone else and make it their problem. So surprisingly, I would have to say I probably troubleshoot more stuff with males.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Your job, whenever you receive the call, do y'all have a script to go by?
We used to
learn to use, and then you able to make it the way that you can speak about it?
Yeah, years ago we used to. Years ago they thought the only way you can control, the quality of someone's experience would be to give them a script.
Right.
The only problem with that is that's not an interaction you want to have with somebody. The customer doesn't have a script.
Yeah, exactly, right.
All right, so that interaction altogether is going to be off. It's going to be robotic, formatted.
Right.
So more so in the past few years, recently they've pretty much done away with any type of scripting, and gave the representatives the freedom to maximize the customer's experience.
Okay.
They want you to interact with the customer like they're a friend, a family member. They want you to be involved with them. They want you to be engaged with them, and they want to give you just the freedom just to make it the best experience possible for the customer.
Okay.
So so things have really changed to open it up for you to really be successful at what you do without a script.
Yeah, I know that's right. How many calls y'all be taking in a day?
Well, it varies. You got that call that comes in and they just want to do something like want to be shown how to send a text message, something simple, and then you have the call where you're troubleshooting network connection issues on a computer, and that call may take an hour, 2, 3 hours. So,
wow.
And that's another thing that changed more recently. A lot of user supports used to be you have to take so many calls an hour. Excuse me. You have to take so many calls an hour, or you have to have this such productivity rate. Verizon Wireless has done a good job at this point in kind of removing all that stuff and just really focusing on maximizing the customer's experience. While you can't operate a business efficiently by spending 7 hours with each customer.
Right.
You have freedom to spend as much time to resolve the issue, educate the customer, and then once again make sure that they have the best experience possible with your company.
Right.
So the calls will vary. We probably I average about 35 to 38 calls a day.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty cool. In y'all workplace, do y'all practice ergonomics?
Yeah, we do. They make sure the chairs that we have, considering we're there from either an 8 to a 10-hour shift, are ergonomically set up, to give you support. And they talk about it from time to time. They bring it up and to make sure that if you have an issue where you need something like maybe a wrist guard to help you from typing, to keep you from developing carpal tunnel, and things like that, that you're aware of the resources available to request such items.
Right.
So they do make that stuff available, trying to make sure that the environment that you're in, you're as comfortable as possible.
Okay. Well, Dory, what would you say to other future students that want to be IT workers or end user supports? What would you say to them? Give them good words or whatever.
I think if you already chose to go down that path, you already got it in your head that at some point you feel comfortable, or you feel like you might be really successful at assisting someone with a product or software or device support in some way, shape, or form like that, and just having that mentality of wanting to assist someone, wanting to make somebody's day easier, somebody's life easier, or fixing a problem that gives that person that added need of security that they need. You know, I think that's very gratifying. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I think if you choose to go in that line of direction and you continue to look at it from that perspective, you know, whatever obstacles you come across, you know, whether it be not being able to figure out something, difficult customers,
right,
things like that. You know, at the end of the day, as long as you work to resolve their issue, and then you fix it, and you hear that customer say, you know, thank you. I don't know how I could go any further without this
right,
computer, or how I can live my life without this phone, whether it be they use it to keep track of their children or to feed their family for business purposes.
right.
You know, so, you know, like I said, I look at it from that standpoint, and I think anyone that decides to go down this field, as long as they continue to keep, you know, keep their mind open, always willing to learn, and just keep, you know, just keep an idea that, you know, you really are helping people, you really are changing people's lives with each interaction, and
Right.
and at the least bit, you know, making it maybe just a little bit easier for everybody else.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you very much for coming to my show.
All right, it was a pleasure.
All right. Thank you for watching the Tyrone Jones Show with end user support in the IT world. I hope all answers will be useful for future IT students. Thank you and have a good day.